Long Island iced teas. But your buddy's worse off and he throws you his car keys. Blue lights are blinking 4 o'clock in the morning. State trooper makes you wish that you'd never been born. Better call Saul, better call Saul. You wanna
Ladies and gentlemen, this is It's All Good, Man, the Better Call Saul podcast. My name is Brian, and with me, as always, is my buddy Dave. Dave, how's it going this evening?
Pretty good.
And with us in studio, actually in the studio with Dave, is Tom. Tom, how's it going?
Not bad. How's it going with you?
Doing good. Tom is a musician in Joliet, Illinois, and him and Dave actually collaborated and put together a new theme song for this very podcast.
That's right. Debuts next week.
Yeah, awesome. I'm pretty excited about it. I've heard it. I think it's great. And then I heard the second version with auto-tune. Don't auto-tune it.
Okay. Auto-tune.
It sounds so...
We're thinking about re-recording the vocals. Maybe getting a real singer or something. But, yeah, we were holding off until the debut of Season 2 will be the debut of our new theme song. And whether I fix it or not, it's still going to be on there because, you know, that's how we roll.
Right, absolutely. So make sure to listen for that next week. It should be a lot of fun. And the reason that we're doing that is because we've kind of been borrowing Junior Brown's Better Call Saul song from about 1.5 to 2 years ago.
Right, yeah. And we wanted to have our own. We wanted to keep the kind of the same feel and vibe, but I mean, we want to have our own theme song.
Absolutely. And you guys did a wonderful job. So we're actually waiting. We're waiting for Michael Mando to call in. So while we're doing that, we can discuss some, discuss a few things about the upcoming season of Better Call Saul. Starts February 15th on AMC. Before we do get into that, I'd like to point everybody to our friends at the West Coast Project. West Coast Project is a podcast by our buddy Mike. Totally cool dude, right, Dave?
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a lot of cool shows, a lot of these recap fan shows about a lot of different popular TV shows that people watch, and he's kind of made his own network out of it.
Yeah, totally. I wonder, we should have him back on. I know one of his big shows right now is his podcast about making a murderer, which is something I haven't seen yet at all.
I've seen 40 minutes of the first episode.
I watched all of it.
I've read enough. Oh, well, we have someone in studio who's watched it.
It seems like the whole show is just like a staged reality TV show, and I don't think I believe or trust anybody that was on the entire series.
Hey, coffee drinkers. Why are you standing in line paying way too much for fast food coffee? Get yourself some real coffee from Tugboat Coffee. Tugboat Coffee is real, direct trade, specialty coffee roasted by master roaster and founder Eric Barkley. I know he does it. I've seen him myself. No more paying $20 for a shot of espresso and a bunch of sugar milk. Get real artisan coffee at www.tugboatcoffee.com. That's www.tugboatcoffee.com. All right, Dave, we already have a couple predictions. Are you ready?
Yeah, man.
All right. Benjamin Montireth, I hope I pronounced that correctly because this is now the 5th time I've actually said his name, and I don't think I've said it the same or correctly any time I've said it. But he's a listener of our show. He says he enjoys the show, and he is predicting that Huel shows up in season 2.
That's
which
your boy.
I would like to see. Right, exactly. I would like to see Huel. I often say, I wonder what happened to Huel, but I'd also like to see how Huel became Huel. That's interesting to me.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if Huel does show up, though, he would also probably come paired with Kubi.
Maybe this is how they meet.
Like you think like Kubi and Huel are buddies, and then they run into Mike and Saul?
Yeah, maybe something like that. Or maybe Mike recruits them separately for a gig.
Or maybe they got into trouble, and the way they get themselves out of what they owe Saul is by doing some dirty work for him.
Kind of like when Mike grabs the money from the Kettlemans.
Oh, look at there.
I'm kind of psychic. No big deal.
Synergy.
Yes.
Chad Ingalls from Twitter. His prediction is one that I think I made. Is Hank. Chad writes, Hank gets drawn in when his wife hires Jimmy on the down low after a run-in with the law.
You said that in the last episode. Yes, you do agree with that. And I said that's a very damn plausible thing.
Well, apparently Chad agrees with us, and if there's one thing I know about Chad Ingalls is that he is always correct about everything. So I'm going to go with his prediction. Even though I said that like 2 episodes ago, it is now Chad's prediction, and I stand with Chad.
Okay, well, I'm going to say she hires Kim Wexler.
Ooh, that's nice. Girl power and all that, right?
That's right. Well, I did read something, a little thing that said that Jimmy and Kim's relationship takes a different turn. So it either sours or they start banging. I want to go with sours.
Yeah, see, I don't think they start like banging, like, because their relationship didn't seem all that overtly romantic.
Right.
I think maybe they're like like teenagers before they kiss. There's like that like awkward dance that they do. Mm-hmm. But then I think he does something that's repugnant enough to where it kind of turns her off, and she starts distancing herself from Jimmy,
or she dies.
Whoa, that's a little abrupt. That's just kind of crazy right there.
It happens in this kind of show.
Hey, yeah. YOLO and shit, Tom. YOLO.
Hey.
It was all YOLO.
I believe in reincarnation, so that phrase is an affront to my sensibilities.
Wow.
Hey, I'm just saying. She was YOLOing, and then she eventually load. That's just the way it goes, man.
No, she's no-lo. YOLO, no mo. YOLO, no.
Wait, you'd have to change the letters. It doesn't work that way.
YOLO, no mo, dude.
All right, guys. Well, Benjamin and Chad, thank you so much for participating.
Yeah, guys, thanks for
the
Thanks for the tweets.
Yeah, right on. No, that's awesome. We need more of that, right? Like, yeah, absolutely. We're going into season 2.
We want to hear your opinions. Don't just parrot what we're saying back at us. This isn't sports talk radio in Chicago, guys.
Yeah, argue with us.
I don't know what. Sorry, I'm just saying I stole my ideas from Chad. That's all I'm saying.
But I am just being contrarian to just be contrarian. In 100% honesty, I totally see the Hank's wife and Jimmy in a legal partnership. Services rendered.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. So coming up after the break, check out our sponsors, and then we talk to Michael Mando, who is Nacho on Better Call Saul.
Like your food with a little extra kick? Try Cuban Sriracha, hot sauce by the Pepper Jelly Company out of Miami, Florida. Cuban Sriracha is an artisan sriracha with a Cuban flair will spice up any dish. A family recipe passed down from the Diaz family right to yours. You can taste the tradition and the heat. Pick up your bottle of Pepper Jelly Company's Cuban Sriracha at www.pepperjellycompany.com. That's www.pepperjellycompany.com.
All right, Dave, you there?
I'm here.
All right, we got Michael on the phone. Yeah,
all right. Insert applause in post.
Yeah, Michael, we're glad we finally got you. For anybody that's listening right now, has probably heard that me talk about with past episodes and interviews. I have a habit of hanging up on our guest and then having to recall. But you are the first guest that's inadvertently hung up on us a few times. So congratulations, my friend.
I'm glad I'm the first at something.
Right?
It's all good man thing.
Yeah.
It's all good, man. That's right.
Well, Michael, we're definitely glad that you're on the show. I've spent the better part of the off season harassing you on Twitter. You finally responded. We made it happen. And I'm absolutely glad to have you here. I'm so glad you came on our little podcast to chat with us tonight.
Well, thank you so much. We're all so glad of the way you guys have been covering the show. And, we have no show without people like yourselves to spread the word, to support us, to, give us feedback and to encourage us. So thank you. And I'm very happy to be on the show. Ray and Patrick have been on this, and they've told me that it's been a pleasure. Oh. And I'm pretty sure that I'll find it as pleasurable as they have.
Great. I'm so glad to hear that. We also have a special guest in house. We have a gentleman by the name of Tom. He's a musician from Joliet, Illinois. Dave told him that we were going to speak with you, and he thought it'd be interesting. So I hope you don't mind that Tom's sitting down and chatting with us today.
Absolutely not. Hey, Tom, how are you?
Not bad. How's it going?
Good. What kind of instruments you play?
Mostly just like, the typical rock stuff. I'm a bass player. I play a little guitar, ukulele, some drums, that kind of thing.
Everything.
Oh, awesome. Multi-talented.
All the fun stuff, right?
Oh, good for you, man. That's great.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about he wrote the theme song that we're going to debut when season 2 starts. We're debuting a new theme song for our podcast. Tom actually wrote it and played the guitar on it.
Oh, I can't wait to hear it. Please tag me in it.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. We sure will. So before we get talking about season 2, which everybody is super excited for, I know Dave and I are pumped. We got a lot of our listeners that are pumped and excited for us. But I just found out that you broke your foot.
You know what? It's not broken. I'm very, very lucky. I thought it was a break because I heard it crack.
Oh,
but it's just a really bad sprain, and we're just kind of afraid that there's complications. So I was just at the hospital, and that's kind of why I missed the phone call at first because we got out late. But I think it's just going to be a sprain. The X-rays turned out positive that there's nothing broken. So it was just playing soccer.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well we're glad that you're all right.
No, I feel like an asshole harassing
Thank
you coming out of the. You're trying to get better, and we're like, "Come talk on our podcast, damn it."
I told the doctor I had to go. He was mid-surgery, and I said, I can't miss this podcast. I've got blood all over me. And
probably better off if Brian was under anesthesia, but hey-o.
His reaction was probably like, what's a podcast? Because we run into that a lot, too.
Yeah.
No, you guys are great.
So, season 2, very excited to see the return of Nacho. In the first season, Nacho was a very mild-mannered and stoic character. It didn't seem like he had a lot of fluctuations in his external emotions. So season 1, when you were creating the character, was there any sort of influence or inspiration for how you handled the character of Nacho?
Well, I think it all came from the text. They wrote a character who listened a lot and spoke very rarely. And when he spoke, it was very to the point. So I think that sort of, you kind of as an actor have to start understanding, what kind of character, what kind of person listens more than they talk. And what I found really interesting is in the first season's episode 3 that is called Nacho, there's that interrogation scene. And he's pissed as hell, and he wants to rip Jimmy's head off. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't say anything for about 2 minutes. Yeah. He just listens to Jimmy go into a monologue. And for someone to be so angry and not react for 2 minutes while the person that he wants to kill walks into the door and just let him go and go and go and go and gather as much information as possible. From that, you kind of deduce a character, and that's kind of how Nacho found his footing. But in season 2, we get to he finds himself in a very a very dangerous situation, and we start finding cracks in his armor, and we start seeing his vulnerability. We start seeing his temper. He starts sort of losing control a little bit, and we reveal a little more of his inner dilemmas and inner struggles.
Awesome, because that means you get to kind of expand on your acting chops too, and tap into different sides of the character. That must be exciting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a slow burn. You don't want to rush it.
Right.
You don't want to rush in too quick. But it's been a blast this season. Stakes are so much higher. The tension is so much higher. We've got a lot going on, and a lot of storylines crisscrossing, and it's just been a blast. We've got some great Breaking Bad Easter eggs. Nice. Our jaws just dropped when we found out who was going to be on the show.
Oh, man. Screw you, Dave. Michael, 2 weeks ago, Dave and I were recording our first official show of the second season, and Dave predicted that nobody from Breaking Bad would show up. So screw you, Dave.
That's okay. I thought I misheard, but yes. Okay,
we're going to have Easter eggs every season. You're going to. Right. You can't help it. It all happens in the same season. I mean, it all happens in the same city. And it only happened, 5-6 years before. Mm-hmm. And every season we're getting closer and closer to that moment Saul Goodman met Walter White.
Right.
Just a matter of time before, God knows who will show up, because you just have to. And we also know that Mike, at some point has to meet Gus. So there's just so many things, and we know that Jimmy and Nacho screw up the cartel in one way or another. They're involved in something because in Breaking Bad, it's revealed that Jimmy puts the blame on. He thinks that Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, when they have a gun to his head, Jimmy thinks that it's the cartel.
Right.
And his line is, "It wasn't me. It was Ignacio. Ignacio did it."
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So we have to get into all that stuff. Yeah.
Do you find it difficult that your character wasn't in Breaking Bad, but your character is now a major part of the events that lead up to Breaking Bad? So you don't really have like an end game to pull from and create a beginning for. You're kind of going the opposite direction. Is it a little bit different process for you than your other cast members because you don't have an end story?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's definitely challenging because you don't know where you don't. Your character is kind of like in my own POV, it's kind of like a wild card. Mm-hmm. But I think it's fun because it's kind of like a roller coaster ride, and you don't know where it's going to turn, and you kind of feel that you are living the part because from episode to episode as they're writing it while we're shooting it. Mm-hmm. So you kind of feel that. You're sort of writing your own destiny, and you have to be very careful. That's maybe another reason why Nacho's so careful, because the stakes for him are extremely high. And when you find yourself in a room filled with sharks, you wanna tread very carefully, but you also want to end up on top. And it takes a lot of restraint. It takes a lot of restraint to be in this criminal business and to survive for a long time.
See, and that's the thing about Better Call Saul is we all know how Saul ends up, and it's just a method of getting there. So Dave and I, all last season, like every episode, we're like, oh, this is going to be it. This is going to be the episode where he's officially Saul, because we didn't even believe Jimmy McGill was his actual name. Like we thought that was like a front, and like just the slow burn of it all. You guys do a great job, I feel, of not jumping into it too quickly. I mean, hell, it's already been one season, and Saul Goodman, for all intents and purposes, has only just been hinted at, and all the characters are just now getting established.
Yeah, absolutely, and that goes to the great writing. Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, Thomas Schnauz, and Jennifer Hutchinson, Gordon Smith, and everybody in that team. They're just such wonderful writers, and everything has a meaning. Every word means something. Every pause means something. Every color in your costume means something. And as an actor, it's the greatest treat where you can do all that detective work and try to deduce, what your character's psychology and where you're at scene by scene.
So do you have any interesting stories about either the audition process or how you found out you got the role? Because so far between Patrick Fabian, Ray Seahorn, and Julianne Emery, even the story of like when they found out they were on the show was like hilarious or awkward, or it was something just kind of different. Like there's something special about this group of this production team that just like everybody is like really enjoys and appreciates the experience of even auditioning for or getting the notification that they got the role.
Well, I can tell you about I don't know if this is going to be a funny story, but to me it was sort of heart pounding. I don't know how entertaining it's going to be. I'll give it a go. But when I was invited to screen test in front of Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould and Melissa Bernstein in LA, it was my second time ever in LA, and I had only been in Los Angeles for about maybe a day for interviews for a video game called Far Cry 3, and then the second time I ever gone to was that day for the screen test, and I remember the taxi driver that picked me up at the airport said, he was asking me what I did, and I told him I was an actor, and he kept looking back. He goes, "Are you famous?" I go, "I don't think so, or else you would know who I was." And he asked me what I was here for, and I said I was here for a screen test. And he said, they don't fly anybody in for a screen test. You must be more than background performer for them to fly you over for a screen test. That's a very, very big deal. You shouldn't take it lightly. And I said, absolutely, I'm not taking it lightly at all. And then pressure started building from there. And then my agent called and said, whatever you do, don't be late. And I said, absolutely not. And I didn't know about LA traffic.
Oh,
shit.
Yeah, I didn't know. And I Googled the thing the night before, and I said, okay, the taxi driver's got some pressure on. My agent's telling me, no, don't be late. She reminded me about 2-3 times. And I Googled it the night before. It says, about 15 minutes from the hotel.
yeah, it's like
And
3 hours.
the day that I leave, I'm about 10 minutes, 15 minutes late, and I'm still in the car. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, I'm never going to get a shot at this. And when I get to the Sony studios, and I run, first time ever on the Sony lot, and I'm running, on that paved brick road that was in Wizard of Oz. It was kind of unreal. And I look to the right, and I see Bill Murray in a golf cart. And I just can't believe it. I can't believe that this is actually happening. And I run through the door, and I go through this glass building, and I tell the woman who I am, and I'm here to audition, and she points me in the direction of the cafeteria. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So I pass by the cafeteria. I go past the cafeteria, past the kitchen, and there's just this like little tiny door at the corner in the Sony lot. It looks like a place where you would put like the door looks like a place where you would put like the brooms and the cleaning products or something like that.
Closet.
It's just a little unassuming door. Sorry?
Oh, like the supply closet?
What's that?
Oh, I was saying the supply closet.
Yeah, it looked like exactly. It looked just like that. And there was nobody there. It was just chairs and a little red light. And I said to myself, oh, God, this is probably a casting call. There's probably not going to be anybody there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just waiting around for like 10, 15 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm probably at the wrong place. And I'm panicking like crazy. Suddenly the lights goes off, and this younger gentleman walks out, who probably just had an audition and looks like he's had the worst time of his life. And walks out, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, what am I getting myself into?
Next.
And then a few minutes later, Vince Gilligan walks out. And I was surprised on how tall he was, and he was the nicest guy I've ever met.
Huh.
And he gives me a hug, welcomes me. Then Peter Gould, Melissa Bernstein, they all walk out, and I quickly realized they're the nicest people I've ever met.
Huh.
And everything from there goes really well.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story.
That's my screen test.
No, that had everything. They had suspense, action, Bill Murray in a golf cart. Like, come on, that's about as good as a story as you could have told.
Scary. It was because you'd imagine. I don't know. You'd imagine bigger than life people.
Right.
And it's just their art is bigger than life. But as people, they're very genuine, very loving and grounded, and unassuming. And I've learned a lot working with these guys.
Well, that's great. And that's what everybody says too. Everybody that we speak with say that that the producers and such, like the whole team or the whole I guess the whole production the whole production team is just made up of the nicest people that you could possibly imagine, and that makes working on a series like Better Call Saul so much more easy.
Oh yeah, and we've got an amazing crew. Not enough credit can be given to our crew. Our props department kind of calls us out and says, last episode you did it with your right hand. Are you right-handed? Left? They'll come in and they'll participate into the creation of the character.
Yeah.
Jennifer Bryan, our costume designer. We have talks about these things, and everybody gives their input, and everybody's working together. And our DOP, Arthur Albert, it really is a family. It was just amazing.
That's awesome.
And we shoot in the same studio as they shot Breaking Bad.
Oh, nice.
See, consistency all around, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, what's that?
I said consistency all around.
Yeah, absolutely, man. From bottom to top to bottom. And Charlie Collier, who runs AMC. Everybody, really. Really. We had Warren Buffett come visit us the other day.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. That was a trip.
So now do you just show up late whenever you feel like it because there's no more pressure, or?
What's that?
I said, do you show up late now whenever you feel like it because the pressure's gone, or?
No, not at all. I've never showed up late to anything. But I didn't know that this LA traffic thing was such a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And it just added 20 minutes to the trip.
Yeah, when I interned in LA for 8 months, and I was 45 miles from the studio, and it was a 2.5 hour commute at the minimum.
Oh my God!
It's nuts.
It was just turn off into a goddamn bridge embankment kind of a strenuous. Yeah.
Well, at least you had an excuse.
But I think that adrenaline rush helped me out in the audition room because I came in, I was so wired up, being late, running up in the studio, and my heart was pounding. I was like 100 miles an hour the moment I walked in there. So maybe I was lucky that I was late. Maybe that helped in getting the part.
It was good timing.
It put you in the right state of mind.
Yeah, I was just like, adrenaline to the max.
I'll never forget. I had one time I was on TV. I had someone give me a chance to play some bass on this song that they had. They're like, all right, we got to be here downtown, the NBC station. I'm like, all right. I went to bed like super early. I go to bed at 4 a.m. I'm a musician. I play late. And I went to bed at like midnight, which is like going to bed at like 6 o'clock for most people, I set my alarm. I had my phone alarm set. All this stuff. I had my lunch packed. I had my clothes set out. And all of a sudden, I kind of wake up and I'm like, oh, what time is it? At the clock. I had 15 minutes to be downtown Chicago, which in the morning is like, an hour and 15 minutes from where I live. I'm like, oh my God, I jumped up. I was freaking out. My wife's like, what's wrong? And she sees the clock. Oh my God. I'm like, that's it. I can't make it. I'm not going to make it. I took a shower. She ironed my clothes. I didn't need anything. I had people calling me all the way there. The parking garage, the address was wrong. There was no parking. I had to park somewhere else. I'm carrying all my gear. I had my amp, my bass, my cable bag. I'm dragging all this around downtown in January like a lost dog. And the security guard walks outside. He's like, hey, man, are you late? I'm like, yeah. I'm like about 45 minutes late, So I rush in there. I'm freaking out. I'm like sweating. I'm like packing up stuff. Everybody is just kind of hanging out. They're like, yeah, we got like 15 minutes still. We kind of just, made sure that you were here an hour ahead of time. I'm like, oh my God, it's crazy.
Oh, wow. You got lucky. Yeah.
I got very lucky.
But I think the lesson to that is, whatever situation you find yourself in, keep your head, keep your cool. And, I think keep your cool.
Be more like Nacho. Full circle, baby.
I thought the world was going to end, but I didn't beat myself up. I just stayed positive throughout the whole thing. And trust me, 10, 15 minutes in a cab ride, knowing that you're late, it could feel like an hour. You're looking at your clock, and every minute feels like, oh my God, what am I doing? And you start thinking I'm never going to get this part. What did I do? And then the taxi driver's voice kind of echoes in my head. And I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, Michael, we're gonna. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you again for coming on our podcast. I don't want to keep you too long. You're a busy man, but it's an absolute honor to have you on. It's all good, man. We hope we get to speak to you again in the future. And before I let you go, I have a buddy who calls himself a boy named Sue that wanted nothing more than a shout out from Michael Mando. So is there any chance that you can say hi to a boy named Sue?
Absolutely. Hi, a boy named Sue. I hope you're doing wonderful and sending you much love.
That's awesome. That's totally going to make his day. I've had an absolutely awesome time chatting with you. Me and Dave have been super pumped for the past week, and we're super excited about Better Call Saul season 2 starting February 15th on AMC. Thank you so much for coming on. It's all good, man.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Michael. You have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Cheers.
This episode of Nothing Important is brought to you by First Base and Beyond, the hilarious new book that defines the bases and expands the baseball metaphor for getting laid. A perfect gift for the holidays, bachelor parties, or just to have around to settle debates. Ever wonder what getting to third base really means? Get First Base and Beyond by going to www.firstbaseandbeyond.com. That's firstbaseandbeyond.com. Some of the proceeds also go to Save the Tatas. Firstbaseandbeyond.com. Copywritten by Brian of the Nothing Important Podcast. Is Michael still there? Did he hang up?
No, he hung up.
That was a real goodbye?
That was a real one, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot to tell him about the fake closing, but...
Oh, see? So, because the last guest, I stopped him before he could hang up. I felt like kind of a dick. And then I go back to where you sent me your WAV file, and I hear you explaining how we're going to do a fake closing. So now I feel like a super asshole. So this time, I don't say anything, assuming you told him about the fake goodbye, and you didn't tell him about the fake goodbye.
This is crappy organization. Who's got to crack the whip around here?
And that's how we do on this podcast.
And that's how we do it on this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, so that was our talk with Michael Mando. We're going into season 2. We're only about, as we record this, what, Dave, like a couple weeks away, about a week and a half, right?
We are 10 days.
That's right. And remember, just like
9 days.
last...
10 days a week.
9 days.
11 days.
11 days.
Yep.
11 days.
Just like last year, Just like last year, Dave and I, we're going to go ahead and watch the show, and we're your buddies on the couch. We're turning on the microphones right after. We're going to record our thoughts, our impressions. We're going to put that out for you. We're going to do the whole preview with a prior thing again this year towards the end of the week when we watch the previews and give our, how do you phrase it, Dave? We speculate about the next episode of Better Call Saul.
We speculate about the next episode of Better Call Saul.
Often incorrectly. But again, just like last year, there's thousands. I know this for a fact. There's tens of thousands of you out there that listen to every episode of this. So just like last year, I need you guys to participate. Twitter, Facebook, email,
talk shit.
Our website at sawgoodman.com.
Compliment
talk shit.
us.
Graffiti. Bathroom graffiti. God.
Carrier pigeon. If you want to debate another fan on the show, we have the equipment. We can make that happen, right, Dave?
That is right.
That sound is sword.
That is absolutely correct. Ben in Australia, I don't know where the hell have you been, but you better check in, buddy. And then we also got some other notable people, Zach in Albuquerque, who was sending us pictures of the sets last year. Yep. You better check in. And then, of course, my buddies on the OG, fuck the OG. And we're excited and ready to go, right, Dave?
We are excited. We are ready to go.
Exactly. So check out our sponsors, West Coast Project, First Base Beyond, Tugboat Coffee, Cuban Sriracha from the Pepper Jelly Company. Check them all out. Check out itsallgoodman.com. Participate, and we'll talk to you next week. Dave?
Call us idiots. Call us geniuses.
Idiots, geniuses.
Whatever, just call us.